Hey guys, this is Eddie from Long Island Boaters Club, and it's another edition of On Board. Today we're going to go over how to stabilize your fuel and your oil and fog out your engine. So there's a couple simple products you're going to need to do this job. First place I start is by stabilizing the fuel. What I'm going to do is put this additive in my tank, the proper amount for the gallons that I have in there. And this is going to stabilize the fuel for the winter season, so at the beginning of the season it's going to be like having a fresh tank of gas. I'm also going to use a crank stabilizer because I don't change my oil at the end of the season. I change it at the beginning of the season, so this will keep the oil all stable for the winter season as well. And then finally, I'm going to fog out the engine. There's a bunch of different products you can use to take care of that. I like to use Marvel Mystery Oil. I'm going to use about 4 ounces and put it down the throat of my carburetor or air horn if you have fuel injection. So come on with me and we're going to get this job accomplished. Hey guys, I'm in my engine compartment and we're going to start the stabilizing process for the oil. Now, if you do change your oil at the end of the season, you won't need to do this step. If you like to do it at the beginning of the season with me, it's a good idea to do this step. And what you're simply going to do is you're going to open up your oil fill and you're going to pour the additive right down in there. Now, you may need a funnel or you may be just pour it in. Once it's all in there, just put your oil cover back on. And then we're going to run the engine for 10 minutes when we're flushing out all the salt water before we fog the engine. Now the next thing I want to do is put the fuel stabilizer in it. So come on with me to the back of the boat. Okay guys, I came up to the top of my boat and I'm going to put my fuel stabilizer inside the tanks. I do have 2 tanks, so I'm going to start with the port side. Have a funnel so it's a little neater so you don't spill anything on it. Now you're going to read your stabilizer and see how much you need to put in. For me, I have a quart of a tank. I need 4 ounces. Now, I do have a measuring cup to make my life easier, to make sure I get the right amount in there. I'm pretty much just going to do 4 ounces and just pour it in there. Now, when you do run the engine, it's going to run it for about 10 minutes, and it's going to travel through all the lines and through your fuel filter, and that's going to stabilize everything for the winter months. So now I'm going to start my engine up. So come on with me. Sorry.
Are you ready?
Okay, guys, the first place we got to start is we got to run the engine. We're going to run the engine for about 10 minutes. What that's going to do is let the stabilizer go through the gas system into the filter, stabilize all the way through. My crank's going to mix with the oil, my crank stabilizer, and then I got to start my engine. Now, I have a set of ears here. My pickup is on the back of the boat, and you'll need a set of these if you have it in the same spot. And it's pretty simple to do. You just connect the hose, just slip it over the back of the motor. You're going to cover the water jacket, which is right there. Once that's over the water input, then it's going to suck it up throughout the engine, and then it'll cool the engine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start the hose. I'm going to flush out all the salt water from the season, let it run for about 10 minutes so all the chemicals mix, like I said. Okay guys, I started the engine, everything's running, and you can see the water's coming out of the exhaust over here and up over here. That means that it's flowing throughout the engine. I know the engine's cooling and it's flushing out all the salt water. It's also allowing all the fuel to come through the fuel lines and the fuel filter, and that's going to get all the way into the engine, so I make sure that everything's stabilized all the way through. My crankcase stabilizer is mixing with the oil right now. That's going to go through all the ports in the engine. So come on up, I got my Marvel Mystery Oil, and we'll start fogging it out after about 10 minutes. Okay guys, I'm in the back of my engine. I'm by the starboard engine. This is the one that's been running for about 10 minutes. So now I'm going to get ready to fog out the engine. It's a really easy process. All you got to do is take off your air cleaner. Now, if you do have fuel injection, you'll need a 10mm wrench, and you want to get to the air horn. If you have carbureted, it's about a 7/16 inch wrench, and that will take that off. And once you get your air cleaner off, you'll see the air horn, which is right here, because I have multi-port fuel injection. If you do have a carburetor, you'll have four barrels, 2 in the front, 2 in the back, if it's an 8-cylinder. And now simply, I got a measuring cup so you can see. Just want to make sure there's no debris in that cup. Now, there's a number of different products you can use. I like to use Marvel Mystery Oil. They do have fogging out spray and fogging out fluid. Now about 4 ounces. Now what this is going to do is I'm going to pour it down the throat of the carburetor. The motor's going to try to burn oil. When it's trying to burn oil, what that means is that all the oil is getting into the piston cylinders and around the piston rings, by the valves, and out the exhaust. That's going to lubricate everything for the winter. So when moisture builds up in the engine, it's not going to rust anything and freeze it. So simply just pour it down. What's going to happen is you're going to get fog out the back exhaust, and that's why they call it fogging out the engine. Okay, I shut down the engine, and you can see all the fog, so that means it was trying to burn the oil, and it's all inside the cylinder walls and inside the piston rings and everything, so it's all lubricated for the winter months.
Look at me.
Okay guys, we're all done with the fogging out process, and now we're just going to wrap up everything that we took off and put everything back together. Okay guys, we wrapped up the motor. Everything is all set for the winter months. We fogged out the engine, we stabilized our fuel, we stabilized our oil, so everything is all complete and ready for the winter months. Once again, my name is Eddie from Long Island Boaters Club. This is another edition of On Board. If you'd like to check out more videos, go to longislandboatersclub.com. I'll catch you next time.